Welcome to the Teach Educator Conference 2015 in Hyderabad, and I'm very pleased to be joined today by Geetha Durairajan. Geetha, welcome and thank you for taking time. I know you're very busy at the moment. I'd just like to talk to you, if that's okay, and ask you a few questions about the talk that you've just given.
Okay.
It was a very interesting talk, and I sat through it and was very interested in everything that you said and the contrast between the different kinds of assessments that exist. And in your talk, you looked at the challenges of bringing assessment closer to learning. Yeah. Can you talk about those challenges a little bit and say a little bit about why those situations exist?
See, basically, I think while we've tried doing this in school education with the imposition of what is called CCE or Continuous Comprehensive Evaluation, we somehow feel that when there's a large amount of knowledge to be taught, it must be tested by checking whether that knowledge exists in the mind. Therefore, there's this need to ask people to remember and reproduce answers. I suspect it's something to do with the higher you go, the more knowledge you feel exists. That's one. The second challenge for me is that probably because of the way our traditional, and because of this kind of exam system, the people who set the papers don't have an alternative in their minds. They don't know what to do. Therefore, they continue setting the same papers, and year after year, generation after generation, this continues. So it's not the individual teacher. I'm not blaming any one individual for this. I'm saying it's the system which has to change.
Yeah.
Okay. So that for me is the challenge, but no system is going to change unless, by itself, unless there's going to be a huge radical policy, but even if that policy is just forced, in the end, I think change has to come from inside every teacher, educator as an individual in small ways. That can hit and become something big.
It's interesting that when you started the talk, you showed some statements from the two different frameworks, which kind of suggested a very formative way of evaluating learners and teacher educators, and then the reality within the sort of the teacher educator scenario where the assessment is completely opposite to
exactly.
that.
So that's where I feel it's the teacher. See, if we want our teachers to practice formative assessment, our teacher educators must begin practicing formative assessment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. Really.
Yeah, because I will take into my classroom only what I have experienced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, exactly. Right.
So. See, it's like can I give you a different example of something that was not in my talk? Some time back, there was this visually impaired student who went in to take a BA class. And he came and said, ma'am, I don't know what to do. He's a PhD student. And I asked him what he was doing with questions and answers. And I said, look, don't get upset, but what do? You ask a question and ask, what's the right answer? Wrong? Sit down. Next? Sit down. Next. Right? He says, yes, ma'am, but that's what I experienced.
Really?
And then I sat him down and told him, don't do this. I said, do a head count, find out how many people have chosen which answer. Ask them why. They've got the right or wrong answer. Just get the reasons. Don't tell them what the right answer is. Get everybody's answers. You've gotten a good peep into their minds.
Okay.
Then tell them what is right. Tell them what's wrong with the others. I said you've taught. Mm-hmm. You've used feedback for genuine teaching and learning.
Yeah.
He went back and did this. And you know what happened? This boy can't see, and this was very new for the kids. They silently left the class.
Really?
And he came back and said, ma'am, I'm upset. And I said, look, this requires learner training. Don't worry. Go back and talk to your learners. 2 classes he did this. After that he says, not one student misses a class. And they've told him, sir, we don't get this anywhere else. Thank you so much.
Great. That's great. Yeah.
Now, change can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my example is this.
Yeah, it happens, and I mean, it's in a way it kind of happens from that kind of individual.
From that small drop of water.
Right.
From that little change.
Yeah.
So lots can happen. I mean, I went into detail, but
no, but it's a great example of how that change does kind of.
It can, and he says, I've learnt my lesson for life.
Right.
I will never go back to doing this again.
Right. I mean, a lot of the solutions towards the end of the talk that you spoke about were this kind of looking at the real life situation rather than the perfect state. When you talked about the car, I think. I mean, how far do you think those solutions are likely to be implemented? How can we make that change kind of happen at the top level?
At the top level, I really don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Because I do it in my university, but then we are autonomous. When there are 30, 50 colleges, I really don't know how quickly it's going to happen, but I'm really not worried. Though I spoke about, for example, a program where there will be courses taught across languages. Now I know that's a dream, right? But what I'd like to see happen is the example I gave you. If teachers in their classrooms, when it's them and their students, in formative assessment, in that 30%, start doing things differently.
Yeah. And then I guess, the other thing is that those small stories kind of grow.
It will grow.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
Similarly, you cannot do... Right now we don't have courses across languages, but in the sacred space of English and Foreign Languages University, which is an English place, I go into my postgraduate diploma class, I have 10 students for whom Telugu is their mother tongue, who think in Telugu. Okay. And they sit there and frown because I ask them a question and they're struggling. Okay. I just take 5 minutes off and tell them, you can't think in English? What's your problem? Is there anything wrong with your mind? And tell them, think in Telugu, I'll wait. Okay. Today I have 25 students doing a testing course. All 25 raise their hands and talk to me. But then, so every teacher can start using that first language as a resource in her or his classroom.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
At some point, the policymakers will have to wake up and say, let's do something about it.
Yeah, we need to change it. Yeah. No, exactly.
So for me, change is in the classroom.
Yeah. So it happens, no, exactly, as we said, it happens from the bottom up and then hopefully...
Yeah, it has to be bottom up. It has to be from within the classroom. Because the classroom is your crucible.
Yeah, of course.
To use the Eliot,
yes.
the violet and the crucible, it has to be there.
Another reason that I've asked you to come along and talk to us, I know you've got a book launch at 5 o'clock this afternoon, and I just wanted to ask you about the book and just, if you could tell us a little bit about the book and how it came about, where it's available. And
oh yes, I'll just show you the book which is going to be launched. Okay, it's a book for school teachers in SAARC countries, and it's come about because I find, this is on testing, I find that every book that's available in the market it's too high for my teacher content-wise. It takes content for granted, takes language for granted, the examples are alien, and deals with issues which are not relevant for the Indian school teacher or for the Nepali or the Sri Lankan teacher. So I've written a book which is very simple language, lots of everyday examples, and only what the teacher needs. Okay. It's come out of 25 years of teaching testing at CFL EFLU.
Okay, and you've condensed it into...
Yes, yes, into this much, but it's just that, because I thought teachers need help.
Fantastic. Okay. No, exactly.
Very, it's a chatty style. It's an inclusive we style. We teachers, think about this, do this. You know, I've talked to my teacher.
Okay. And it's available with Cambridge.
This is Cambridge University Press is publishing it. It'll be available soon. The launch is at 5 today.
The launch is today and then available.
And it's a low price book.
Okay.
I don't know the cost yet, but it's very low price because we said the school teacher should be able to afford it.
Well, yeah, no, that's very sensible. So, yeah, great.
That's it. I'm very happy that I was able to do this.
Brilliant. Okay, Geetha, thank you very much.
Thank
for
you very
taking time to join us.
much.